We're going through this pretty quick here, so I want you to keep up. We got 1 through 28 on 4.3. I got all the odd ones, of course. On the first one, we see we're writing linear equations in standard form. I'll be showing you on the first one, and then after that, you got to catch up. So we got a y minus 5x plus 4. And put this in standard form. We need the 5x to be over here. Really easy. We're just going to minus the 5x from both sides. Right? And now we bring everything else down. And we see that 4 is by itself. The equal sign is now over here. And the negative 5x plus y is here. Now we're going to multiply everything to the inverse. We're netting the negative 1, excuse me, to get the inverse. So our x will be positive 5x minus y equals negative 4. All right, let's go to number 3. We're going to distribute properties first, right? This is going to give us 2x minus 14. Now, once again, we're going to subtract 2 from this side, which means we'll subtract it from this side. That's where the negative 2 came from. We're also going to subtract 4 from this side, which means we subtract 4 from this side. And negative 14 minus 4 is negative 18. Now we have a negative 2 plus y equals negative 18. And the only thing that they forgot to do is multiply everything to the inverse, or to negative 1, excuse me, to make sure their x was positive. Okay, and that's going to leave them with 2x plus y, or minus y, excuse me, minus y. Change that. Because a negative times a positive is definitely negative. And that's going to equal positive 18, because a negative times a negative is a positive. All right, let's go to number 5. We'll distribute the properties again, which will give us 4 over 3x plus 8 over 3. Then we're going to subtract 4 over 3x from this side, which means we're subtracting it from this side. And that gives us, we're also going to add 2 over 3 over here, which means we'll add 2 over 3 over here. And 2 plus 8 will be 10. This step was kind of useless. They just swapped this over here. So the negative 4 over 3x is here, and the positive y is here. Then they multiplied everything to negative 3, so they could get rid of the negative and not leave any fractions. So you notice they multiplied it by the coefficient here, right? Or excuse me, the denominator. Sorry. So this negative 3 gets multiplied to negative 4, which becomes a 12. And 12 divided by 3 is 4. This negative 3 gets multiplied to positive y, which becomes a negative 3y. And the negative 3 gets multiplied to positive 10, which becomes a negative 30. And negative 30 divided by 3 is negative 10. And everything's proper now. All right, let's go to number 7. We're going to write in standard form the line that passes through this. We're going to have to use a point slope form now. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So this is going to become, see, m is our slope, so it replaces, m1 replaces m. Remember, this is xy here. So for those that need the visual, this is x, and this is always y. So we're replacing our x1 and y1 with these numbers, okay? So x1 becomes negative 3, right? And then negative times a negative is a positive. Y1 becomes 2. And since this was on the minus side here, it becomes a negative 2. Now we're simply subtracting x from both sides. Again, for those that need the visual, I'll put it here. We're minusing x from both sides. That's how the negative x got over here, right? And the 3 comes down. And then we're adding 2 to both sides, right? To get our numbers, these are our like terms, our numbers over here, and 3 plus 2 is 5. And now we're multiplying everything by -1, so we'll get the inverse, a nice positive x there. All right? Number 9 is next. We're doing the same thing. Okay, we are putting it in point slope form. M is now -2, x is now 0, y is now 5, so now it becomes a -5 and a -0. -2 times x is -2x. -2 times 0 is nothing, so nothing came down. All we have to do is bring the inverse, positive 2x to this side, right? We're going to add 2x here to get rid of it, add 2x to this side. And then we're going to add 5 to this side and add 5 to this side to get rid of the -5. And now we have our equation. All right, you have number 8 and 10. Now we've got the same thing here. So our slope is now a -3/2. And x is now -4, so negative times a negative is a +4. And our y is now, our y1 is -4. So a negative times a negative is a positive again. Now we need to distribute our properties. This will give us -3/2x. And then, 3 times 4 is 12, and 12 divided by 2 is 6. So we have a -6. Now we're going to add 3/2x to both sides. And we're going to subtract 4 from both sides, right? -4, -6 make -10. Then we're going to multiply everything by that denominator, 2, and that's going to give us 2 times 3, which is 6. 6 divided by 2 is 3. And 2 times y is 2y, and 2 times -10 is -20. 12 is yours to do. 13 is line right equation in standard form. The line that passes through. Now they've given us the 2 coordinates, right? So we can use our slope formula, right? y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So we're going to get 3 minus 2 and -4 minus -5. This is going to give us 1/1, which is 1. We put everything, we got our slope form here. Now we're going to go to our point slope form, right? We got our slope here. We're going to replace m with 1. And we already have either of these, but we're going to use, looks like -5 and 2 here. -5 and 2. Either of these coordinates is fine. Negative times a negative is a +5. And then this will become a -2. We're going to move the x over here by subtracting x from both sides. Then we're going to move the 2 over here by adding 2 to both sides. Right? And now we're going to multiply to -1 to get the inverse of this formula, x minus y equals -7. Let's see, number 15, same thing, they're giving us a table. So we use either of these coordinates in our slope formula. And they chose to use 6 minus 2 and -6 minus 3. All right, this gives us the slope of -4/3. We're replacing m with -4/3. We can use either of these x and y's. They chose to use -3 for x. That means they use 2 for y. Negative times a negative is a positive, right? It looks like they've made a little. Oh, they jumped over here and did multiple steps. So I'm going to simplify this here. At the beginning, this was going to be a +3. Okay, because a negative times a negative is a positive. Then they distributed properties. So -4/3 times x is -4/3x. And -4 times a +3 will give you a -12. And 12 divided by 3 will give you -4. All right? Now we're going to add 4/3 to both sides, right? Looks like they decided to, add 2 first over here. That was odd that they kind of did the steps a little different than they did before. So just to follow through, they added 2 to both sides on this one to give you a -2. Then they added 4/3 to both sides on this one to get 4/3x plus y equals -2. Then to get rid of the 3, they multiplied everything to 3. And that gave them 4x plus 3y equals -6. All right, that was fun. Let's move on. See, 16 is yours to do. I'll do number 17. It says find the slope and y-intercept of the line to find the slope. Well, using the slope-intercept formula, y equals mx plus b, right? And that's all we did here. We added x to both sides, right? Just so you can see that they added x over here to get rid of x, which means they added x to this side, right? And they just turn it around and put x minus 10 instead of negative 10 plus x, okay? And now we're able to see that the slope is m, and since there's nothing in front of x, that means it's 1. And then our y-intercept is negative 10. Let's go to 19. Once again, we're going to minus 9x from both sides, which will give us negative 3y equals negative 9x. So our slope is going to be negative 9, and our y-intercept will be 12. But remember, we needed to get rid of this negative 3 as well. So I'm going to do the work over here on this one just to kind of demonstrate. First, they had 9x minus 3y equals negative 12. First, they subtracted 9x from both sides. That left them with negative 3x, or negative 3y equals negative 9x minus 12. And remember, we want a y, not a negative y, not a negative 3. So we're going to divide everything by negative 3. This gives me my y that I wanted. Negative 9 divided by negative 3 will be a positive 3x. And negative 12 divided by negative 3 will give me a positive 4. So we should have our slope, and we should have our y-intercept. Let's see how Mr. Mendez did. Yep, they brought the negative 9x over here. They divided by negative 3 to get the same thing I got. And our slope is 3, and our y-intercept is 4. All right, let's move on. So let's write an equation of horizontal. This is equation of the horizontal and vertical lines that pass through these given points. Well, for number 21, the horizontal line that passes through 2 and 3 has a y-coordinate of 3. Right? That means that all the points of the line have a y-coordinate of 3. So the equation of the line is y equals 3. Right? That's the horizontal line. Now the vertical line that passes through, because remember they're saying write an equation of the horizontal and vertical lines that pass through these. So the vertical line that passes through 2 and 3 has an x-intercept of 2. So that means all points on the line have an x-coordinate of 2. So an equation of the line would be x equals 2. You can do the same thing for number 22 here. Number 23, same thing. The horizontal line that passes through the line is negative 1. So that means we can write y equals negative 1. The vertical line is goes through x, which is 8, which means all points go through 8, so the equation x equals 8. You can do the same thing for 24. On 25, it says find the missing coefficients of the equation of the line. Write the completed equation. We're writing the missing coefficient. Okay, so we're trying to find a. We see we have 8x equals 3y, or plus 3y equals 5. Now we're taking the coordinates 2 and 1. We're replacing y with negative 1. And we're placing x with 2. Now we can follow this out. 3 times negative 1 is negative 3. A times 2 is 2a. Now we're simply combining our like terms. We're going to add 3 to both sides. And 5 plus 3 is 8. And now we're going to divide by 2. And 2 divided by, or 8 divided by 2 is 4. All right, same thing for number 27. We write the formula out. Oh, I'm sorry, the missing coefficient is 4, and the completed equation is 4x plus 3y equals 5. All right, we're doing the same thing for 27 here. We got the formula. We're replacing x with negative 2. we're replacing y with 2, right? Now we have a negative times a negative, which is a positive. We can combine like terms. We'll subtract 2 from both sides here, which means 10 minus 2 is 8. Then we'll divide by 2 to get b by itself. And 8 divided by 2 is 4. So this means our missing coefficient is 4. Our formula should be negative x plus 4y equals 10. And the rest were for you to do, right? I believe so. So I'll see you in class, and good luck.